and welcome to my video where I'm going to be talking about some all-natural remedies to treat disease. And I have to, disclose I'm not a medical professional and this is just for entertainment purposes only. But last Gemini season, because I really harness the energy of each season, and Gemini, they like to gather information and study and absorb, and I stayed up like all hours of the night researching this for actually a family member, and the family member didn't care at all. They just blew off anything I said and wouldn't even consider trying any of the things. So anyway, I wanted to share it with you because it could help somebody. So I first started getting into like the more natural remedies when, well, I watched this documentary on Netflix called What the Health, and that made me go vegan for 2 years because the food industry in the US is so disgusting. I'm not vegan anymore. I'm sure if I watched it again though, I'd be grossed out by all the food again. But anyway, so I was talking about that documentary, and then my one follower, Candy, hi Candy, and this is so Taurian of you because it was a documentary called Food Matters, and it's just funny because Tauruses are all about their food. Food does matter. But anyway, she's like, oh, you should watch this, I think it was on YouTube. I don't know. It was called Food Matters. But in that documentary, I remember there was this doctor in there, and his name was Dr. Andrew Saul, I think. I'm just doing this from memory. And he was talking about doing intravenous vitamin C to cure diseases such as, like, I don't even want to say it because I don't want to get shadow banned, but what's a disease that everybody has? So anyway, if you did this intravenous vitamin C, and I'm talking high dose, anywhere from 10 to 100,000 milligrams, shoot it through your bloodstream, that actually it could do the same thing as chemotherapy, but the only difference is chemotherapy kills the healthy and the cancer cells, whereas the vitamin C will only kill cancer cells, and it preserves your healthy cells. So I thought that was like so interesting and fascinating, and I'm like, wait, why don't more people know this? And well, for obvious reasons, right? Because a cancer patient, right out the door, that's $100,000 for the medical. And you know what I'm saying? Like, it's all about money. But I mean, it's nice to know that you might have these options. And of course, you have to look into it. Like, say, if you did intravenous vitamin C, but you have kidney failure, you can't do that. Or like, you know what I mean? So there's certain, but it's fun to look into and know that you could have other options to treat, not just, So when I was doing my research for the specific type of, I found this video. Well, actually, I joined all these different Facebook groups, and Facebook's a great place to gather information because there's all these like naturopath or, all natural like fighting groups, and you can read everybody's comments, and sometimes the comment section is the most informative part because you see what other people are doing and what works and what lowers numbers and whatnot. So, but anyway, I was on YouTube and I came across, I was just doing my research, like typing in all natural cures for this certain kind of plasma cancer. It's called like multiple myeloma. But so this one lady, she was on a talk show saying how she had it for a few years, and she was reading a certain blog. It was called Margaret's Blog, and she had smoldering myeloma, which is like the first steps before it becomes, multiple myeloma. And she said that in that article, all they were doing was taking, where'd it go? Turmeric curcumin, right? Yeah, and so all she did was take turmeric curcumin, like from the drugstore. And it was actually the Doctor's Best brand that they showed on the talk show. But you can take up to 8 grams of this a day, or 8,000 milligrams. That's the highest dosage you can take. So that's what she did every day. And so anyway, that's all she did, is she took this every day, and it kept her numbers, at bay, because it's a natural blood purifier. And well, the turmeric, it kills SC cells, and it kills them at the base where the tumor's forming. It kills the stem cells of the tumor. So, but turmeric, I'm just blown away by it. And who uses turmeric a lot in their cooking is the Indian people. And don't you just feel like Indian people are just super smart like that? Like, they're good with money. They're good with like marrying. Like, if an Indian couple is doing an arranged marriage, they look at the moon signs in astrology. If the moon signs aren't compatible, they won't marry. They won't put the arranged marriage together. So I just feel like Indians, if the Indian people are doing it, they're smart. So listen to them. I was so excited to find this information out, and when I asked, I got it for the family member, and they just basically act like it was like a really big chore to take it. Didn't even want to take it. So yeah, but anyway, if you do take, well, this is great to take every day. Like I take it because I don't, I use my hands every day, and it's good for inflammation. If you just Google, is turmeric good for inflammation? It'll say, yes, it's turmeric good for high blood pressure. It's turmeric good for, killing like C cells. Like anything you Google, is it good for? I bet you it is. I feel like there's over 800, 800 uses. 800 uses is what I'm trying to say. Now, if you do want to get turmeric, you may have to make sure it says curcumin, number one, right? And number two, you want to make sure it has black pepper extract in it, because actually turmeric is really hard to be absorbed in the bloodstream unless it's paired with the black pepper extract. And if you can pair it with a fat, like a fatty, I think actually sunflower oil is in this, so it's good because it has the black pepper extract. It has, and sometimes it's called biopernin, something like that, or and so you want it with the black pepper, and you want to take it with the fat so it can get absorbed into your bloodstream, because it has very poor bioavailability. And I would read sometimes in these Facebook comments that the black pepper extract would upset some people's stomachs, but this one actually has ginger in it as well, and ginger settles your stomach. So I just think this Nature's Truth brand, it's a really great brand. It's like $13 at the drugstore, and I just pop one every day because, and you know what it's really good for? Regenerating your cells, like anti-aging. So when I heard that, I'm like, sold, buy the whole stock. But I've been turmeric obsessed. It's like on and off obsession for quite some time. So, but anyway, I take one every day, and if you just Google all the uses of turmeric and what it's good for, you'll be blown away. But a side note, if you're on certain medications or you have like pre-existing medical conditions, you do have to make sure, before you start taking a supplement, to ask your doctor if it's going to interfere with, what you're already on. Because turmeric, like say you're on blood thinners, turmeric can thin your blood even more. And I will say that turmeric does block iron absorption. So that's something you need to be, cognizant of, is that, it could... if you're already low iron, I wouldn't recommend taking turmeric, right? What I do want to say before leaving the subject of turmeric curcumin, if you are taking this to treat, certain C cells, what makes a really great tag team is taking it with green tea extract, because green tea extract, it inhibits cancer from feeding on glutamine. And glutamine is an amino acid that's produced in your muscles, and then it travels through your bloodstream to all your organs, and it's a building block for the proteins in your body. And cancer loves to feed on glutamine. So again, if you take the green tea extract, it inhibits the C cells from doing that. I think that's what I've read. And if you are doing chemotherapy, if you are taking turmeric at the same time, if you're doing Western medicine and this in conjunction, this will actually help protect your healthy cells from the chemo. And, and then if you're in remission, if you take this every day, I think it'll help keep your numbers down. It wouldn't hurt to take it, right? So I just want to take this time to touch up my makeup and reiterate that I'm not a medical professional, and you really do have to do your own research, and you want to ask your doctor, but don't be surprised though. And I'm not knocking doctors or anything, but this is how med school teaches them. They don't teach them anything about supplements or nutrition. They're going to know all about the pharmaceutical part of it, because they're in business together. The hospital is in business with the pharmaceutical company, right? So that's what their knowledge is. So if you ask them about certain supplements, they might not even know or have any knowledge, or just kind of say no. So just keep that in mind. You have to be your own advocate when you go to the doctor though. Okay? Just because they're telling you something, you might want to just research it yourself. Like, you want to be able to trust your doctor, but at the same time, you could do your own research too, and then make your own decision for yourself and do what's best for you. Listen to your intuition, right? And do you know what I'm saying? That's why doctors have malpractice insurance, because they're not always right. And it actually happened to my mom. So my little brother, full-term baby, 9 months, and she documented that she wanted to get a C-section, but the doctor was like, no, he's a little bit smaller. I think you'll be fine doing it natural. And she's like, if I just would have listened to my intuition, because she's just like, something's just not right. And I get like goosebumps, talking about this type of thing, because women, you have that intuition. And just so you know, once you have a cesarean, like a C-section, you want to keep having cesareans, because what could happen is when you're pushing the baby out, the old C-section scar could burst open, and you could start bleeding internally, which is exactly what happened to my mom. And then she had to have emergency C-section anyway. So another option that I've like read and researched about is it's called Essiac tea. I think I'm saying that right. It was actually a nurse, and it's her name spelled backwards, but it's just a blend of different different herbs that help fight certain. And actually, I learned about this because my mom's boss at work, her mom had, she was having chemotherapy, and they were shooting her arm up. Her arm started turning black. So they stopped that treatment right away, and she's like, I just don't want to do this anymore. And all she did was take this for a while, and it really kind of settled things down. So, this is just something to look into. People say it doesn't really taste that great. I mean, it is what it is. If it's, if it's doing its job, who cares? So it's just another, cool thing to look into. But if you have like a hormonal kind of, you don't really want to take this. I don't think it works good, like say with breast or like prostate. So that's something you have to look into. Like I said, you have to do research with this. Another great supplement to look into is dandelion root tea. It needs to be the root. And when you think about it, like little sweet dandelions, they try and market it as a weed. It's not a weed. There's so many health benefits to dandelion tea. It can naturally like cleanse your kidneys, your liver, different organs. Now, I will say if you have an iron problem, like if you have high iron, you don't want to take dandelion tea. But if you have low iron, it's a great thing to take to get your levels up higher. Like say if I think turmeric is blocking my iron absorption, I could take dandelion tea to get my iron levels back up. You understand what I'm saying? So, but I just feel like they know the power of the dandelion, and that's why they try and market it as a weed, and especially the whole like Monsanto scheme, because what do they say? Like, oh, dandelion's a weed and we have to kill it. But dandelion, it's like, I almost feel like it's like a gift from God, because it's on everybody's front lawn. Dandelions are accessible to anyone. You can go in your backyard right now and pick some out. I think they're on every continent except for Antarctica. So anyway, dandelion tea is great. And actually this one, my one client, she got, her boobs done, and, you have to heal from that. And she's like, well, they're asking what medications, what supplements are you taking? And she's actually low iron. She's anemic, which is why she takes the dandelion root tea, to get her levels up. I told her about it. And they're like, oh, that's great to take. That's really gonna, accelerate your healing process, from the boob job. And she had no problems from it. So I need to start taking some of this stuff every day, because I kind of fall off of it, but I was taking the dandelion. And actually this one, it's like a local, actually the girl, I do her extensions, and she's like, oh, that's my client's line. It's called Dandy Blend. You can get it on Amazon. And what else do I want to, every day I take vitamin C. I think vitamin C, well, like I said in the beginning, you could take high doses of it intravenously to, what I said in the beginning. But I take 100 milligrams every day, and it's so great to fight the common cold. I take this every day. Vitamin C is so underrated. And like I said, that Dr. Andrew Saul, he's really big on the vitamin C. And his website's actually dryourself.com if you ever want to just go on there when you're bored and, see what he has to say, like certain remedies or certain amounts for certain, ailments. But during I don't even want to say it, during the pandemic, this is what I was stocking up on. I wasn't stocking up on toilet paper. I was stocking up on I love Emergency. Even if I have like a little like something in my throat, I take one of these, it knocks it out. It's just like high levels of like, B vitamins, vitamin C, obviously, magnesium, zinc. It's just, it'll knock it out, right? And now I want to share a supplement, and people were talking about like, most people are deficient in magnesium, and there's all different types of magnesium, right? There's like magnesium oxide, which is probably like the worst one to take because it's hard for your body to absorb it. They're like, oh, you have to get the magnesium glycinate. And if you're taking vitamin D3 with magnesium glycinate, I think it works even better. And I do take D3 every day in the morning. But the magnesium glycinate, I feel like this changed my life. Like my energy levels are so much better now. I sleep better. The mood swings, well, I still have those, but they're better. Like my road rage has gone down a little bit. You know what? No, I can't lie. I still have the road rage, but so, and I got this one actually because I saw the little joint thing on it, and I'm like, well, I probably need that from all the weightlifting and stuff. But this one is the, I'm telling you, I don't know why I get so angry when I drive. I think it's just because I like driving fast, and I have a Sagittarius moon. You can blame any of your negative qualities on astrology, so that's just where we're going with that. But the magnesium glycinate, I love it. Like I almost considered my depression. Well, I always felt like tired when I woke up. Like I would wake up, do my makeup, and feel like I wanted to go crawl back in bed. I don't have that feeling anymore. I don't have like that heavy feeling. It was almost like, am I depressed? Is it depression? I almost thought about like maybe I should go on antidepressants, which I'm totally against. But this literally, it was life-changing for me. But you have to take it regularly. I tell clients about it and they're like, well, I tried it for, I'm like, well, how long did you try it for? They're like, I don't know, a few days, and then I forgot. You have to be consistent with these things for them to work. But I tell everyone about it. It's just, and I feel like I have energy. I feel like the second part of my life can start now. All right. Another natural remedy to fight like those kind of cells is CBD oil, or there's Rick Simpson oil. Now, Rick Simpson oil is the very high concentration of the THC, which, is the one that could give you the effects of being high. But I've never tried that one, but I heard that works really good for plasma cancer as well, but nobody listens to me. So anyway, this is this HempWorks brand, and I actually took this when I was having really bad back pain. I don't know if I pulled something, and it was terrible. But I was also in a business relationship with a narcissist, and I thought I had fibromyalgia, and I was just in really, really bad pain. But anyway, when I took this, and this is I was kind of almost healed too, but I do think that this is what cleared up the rest of the back pain. So I'm all for CBD oil. I'm for the Rick Simpson oil, and I've never heard of Rick Simpson oil until I started doing this like heavy research, and it was in a lot of the Facebook groups. But that's the one that has the high concentration of THC, so you will get the effects like if you were smoking marijuana. But if you don't want that, you could always, because you're supposed to take it underneath your tongue, that's the best absorption to get into the bloodstream. You could take it, you could put it in your belly button, or you could do a suppository of the Rick Simpson oil. I know, but hey, you do what you got to do. And I think that's why they try and make it illegal, because I do think that these are remedies for disease and they don't really want you to know about it. And if we weren't meant to absorb this, why do we have cannabinoid receptors you have those throughout your entire body. Throughout the entire human body, you have cannabinoid receptors to absorb that. So why are you telling me that it's bad for me when I have these receptors all over my body? And actually, you can naturally produce cannabinoids when you are like exercising. Like that's what runner's high is. And it makes sense because you have this high feeling, it's then that's your body producing them naturally. And you can produce those naturally too when you're doing things that bring you like enjoyment, like dancing, singing, anything that brings you joy and pleasure. Your body's producing cannabinoids, so you might not even need to take this kind of stuff if you're getting that high naturally. Does that make sense? But a great way to continue on with the exercise and creating cannabinoids naturally, if you're exercising every day, that's going to help prevent disease, because disease cannot really thrive in a alkaline, oxygenated, when your body's in an oxygenated alkaline state. Okay, disease thrives in acidity. If you're eating like a lot of like sugar and you're very stagnant, you're not getting that oxygen to the blood. Another thing I say if you have is to stay away from sugar, because I feel like that feeds on sugar, and people will argue with you about that, like, oh, I've never read that, or it causes it. It doesn't cause it, but it definitely feeds on it. And the argument is that people say like, okay, well, when you consume any food, it turns into glucose, which is sugar. So what does it matter if I eat broccoli or if I eat a milkshake? And to me, it's just like common sense. Well, I'm like, well, the broccoli has all that added, health benefits, whereas a milkshake is just pure garbage. So, I feel like if you have this, you should stay away from sugar. That's just my opinion. But I can't deny, I can't say that I don't fucking love sugar. I do. And it's hard to stay away from, but, everything in moderation. But yeah, you hear people that, they're diagnosed with, and they do like a juice cleanse, or there's actually places that you go. Actually, they're all in Mexico. I don't know if there's any in the U.S. And I just wonder, like, why don't we have this in the U.S.? But there's all these places that you can go, and they're going to give you an all-natural like diet where you're juicing and you're doing all these different like therapies that I just feel like there should be places like this in the U.S. And in the U.S. it's really hard to come by. But it is very expensive to go. It's like, a 2-week thing. It could be like $30,000 at these clinics in Mexico. I researched those too. That's what I'm trying to tell you is exercise, get that oxygen flow through the body. Try and keep your, between alkaline and acidic. You want to keep your body slightly more alkaline, and that's by eating a lot of greens and vegetables and stuff. I need to get better with that. But that's because like I said, disease thrives in a more acidic environment. So, but anyway, another thing you can do to fight disease is fasting. I've seen people, they, fast for 30 days to reset their body. And it regenerates all the cells. And actually sick animals do this naturally. Well, you do this naturally too. If you don't feel good, you don't feel like eating, right? But animals out in the wild, if they know something is wrong with them, they'll fast because they're trying to reset the cells in their body. So I've heard, stories where people fast for 30 days. And, I like to fast sometimes too, especially if I need to drop weight pretty quick. And I know you're saying that's terrible advice. I'm not saying starve yourself. You do it. You'll be okay without food for a couple days. I always say nothing jumpstarts a spring body quite like, an illness or a breakup, because you're not eating. I know it's terrible, but it is what it is. And then another subject I just wanted to touch on is like meat. I don't really eat a lot of red meat. I don't know, that's like a subject of debate for people, but if you have like heart disease, they tell you to stay away from red meat. But I try and just eat like chicken or turkey, and there was a time where I was vegan. And I don't necessarily think that meat is horrible for you. I think it's everything they pump into the meat, the hormones, the preservatives. You really want to make sure your meat is organic. But it's the process that it goes through. And I don't like how mean they are to the animals. That was a really big reason why I went vegan. I'm like, oh, because I'm so empathetic, right? And there was one book I read about, I can't remember the name of it, but it did make a lot of sense that, in evolution and stuff, we are, humans are more like gorillas, right? Which is the strongest animal in the world. And a gorilla is a herbivore. They feed on plants, and we're more designed like that. Like our teeth and our hands are, we don't have claws. We don't have sharp fangs to rip up meat. So she's saying that, the way we're designed more like herbivores than a carnivore, and we don't really have the uric acid in our stomach to break the meat up. Like say a tiger, they have high levels of uric acid in their stomach, and they have a very short digestional tract, so they can get that meat in and out. The thing about our intestinal tract is it's very long, and red meat gets stuck in there, and if it gets stuck in there, it can ferment, and then it can, produce, like, all those like chemicals like cancer, like colon cancer. Do you know what I'm saying? So that's because a red meat takes a very long time to digest and get through your digestional tract. Like that's not debatable. Like, chicken will go through a lot faster. Fruit and vegetables, they fly through, but red meat, it does get stuck. That's why I try and limit my red meat intake. And also I do still like low-key feel bad about eating cows, because cows are really like big dogs, their personality. So, I'll have a steak here and there, I'll have a burger here and there. I can't deny that I love it, especially on the grill. Oh my God, right? But I try to eat more chicken and turkey because I feel less guilty about it. I don't know. The birds, I feel less guilty. I don't know why. I don't know if I think they have a smaller brain or something. But I will not eat lamb. No way. I love little lambs. They're so precious. I don't eat really pork because I feel bad about the pigs. So I still have my little things, but the meat is debatable, and I'm not going to sit here and argue with anybody about it. It's, it is what it is. I kind of want to wrap this up now, but a few other things that I just wanted to touch on. You could do your own research is like B17 is from an apricot seed, and you do have to be careful with it because there is cyanide in it, and people are like, oh, that's poison. Yeah, it is, but so is chemo. So it's just something you could like look into. It's kind of a touchy subject, and also getting vitamin D regularly, like going out into the sun and getting it naturally is very important, and it helps fight diseases as well. And they try and scare you and say, oh, the sun is bad. It's not. If you're doing it in moderation, if you're not going out and burning every day, like that's where I feel like the cells can get, if it burns, that's when they could mutate and then you could start having problems, right? But the sun is just, I love laying in the sun. I just feel like it's like a life force. It gives me so much energy, and it's like one of my favorite things to do is lay out in the sun. I don't really even use sunscreen. I'll use sunscreen sometimes on my face, or if I go in the tanning bed. I know people people are like, oh, you're still using tanning beds? Yeah, I am. I love it. And, you know, I came to a point in the spring where it was still like really gloomy and I just couldn't take it anymore. And I went tanning and I just feel like I felt so much better. Like it really helped with my depression. So, you know, sometimes I'm like, well, would I rather be depressed or... Do you know what I'm saying? Like sometimes you just need it. And I don't think that tanning beds give vitamin D off, but I do think that they trigger something in your body to produce vitamin D. I can't remember what I read about it, but I don't know. I don't use sunscreen because sometimes people argue and say sunscreen is a carcinogenic and it's not like safe to put on your skin. So, I mean, I don't know what the right thing to do is, but I love sitting in the sun and I can't change who I am. Yeah, I'm starting to get a little antsy. And the last thing I'm going to touch on, and you could look up and research, is what's great to take is sauerkraut. Sauerkraut's really good pre-probiotic and it's good for digestion. It's good for, you know, getting all that food in and out in a timely manner, and it's good for bloating. It's just a fermented food and it really helps with your gut. And they do say that all disease starts in the gut. That's, you know, something that I've heard, which I could see it being true. And like your diet, you know, if you don't have a healthy diet, things are going to maybe start to go amiss. But, oh, and the graviola leaves you could look into. And that actually comes from the soursop fruit. It's the leaves on the fruit is something else you could look into. But anyway, I'm starting to get a little bit antsy and I kind of want this video to be over. So I hope you enjoyed watching it and maybe you took away something that could be valuable for your life or a loved one. But I hope it helped, you know. Thank you so much for watching. Love you. Bye.